Welcome to Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes, a podcast hosted by me, Natalie Torres-Haddad, an international award-winning author, two-time TEDx speaker, and investor, along with Vera Egley, an investor, sales, and marketing pro, and multi-language podcaster. We will share the tips and tricks from interviews with self-made entrepreneurs, leaders, and those who have attained financial freedom while learning financial literacy in multiple languages.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes. I'm Vera and Natalie is here too.
Hello. Woohoo.
And today we're delighted to have Sandra Salcido from Arkapital. She is the CEO of Arkapital. We're very excited to have her on here today. Hi, Sandra.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So we like to start off our episodes by asking a question that we find is really revealing. We want to know, don't worry, it's not inappropriate. We want to know, when was your first official paycheck? Do you remember? And how did it make you feel? What were you doing when you got your first paycheck?
My first paycheck official. Not my mom paying me for taking care of the business. It was when I was 16 years old. And it was in pesos because I was working in Mexico. So I remember it was 2 weeks of work and it was 2,000 pesos. And I was making more because I spoke a little bit of English and I felt so empowered. I wanted to go out and rent on my own when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
She's already making boss moves then. I love it.
He's like, I'm leaving, Mom. I'm living by myself.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. Thank you for asking that question because it reminds me of that freedom that I felt at that moment.
Yeah, especially I think as like a young lady, right? You're out there and, getting your own. I think that's so cool. But it also counts when Mom gives us money. You were doing some work there.
She was working for it.
Yeah, that's true. But it's not the same, Like my mom
No.
used to give me like 200 pesos like every week for helping her with the business. And now you get like a 2,000 pesos check.
Mhm.
And you were working hard and then you were following orders. You were not just in the family business. So it's very different.
Wow. I'm so glad we could, resurface that memory for you. That's awesome.
And it starts at home. Like you just said, you were doing this with your mom. You've been an entrepreneur, and then obviously you have your business partner, which also happens to be your hubby. And soon you'll have the title as mom entrepreneur as well, or mompreneur. I don't even know how people say it.
Oh yeah, like mompreneur or something like that.
I think it's mompreneur. Yes. I'm very nervous about that title though.
Well, you're gonna kill it. Either way, you're gonna be amazing. We did ask you a few questions prior, just kind of like, what is it that, because you're such a planner, as all of us pretty much are, what is it that you started to do the moment you guys found out you're pregnant? You're like, what stuff did you have to place in order?
Yeah, after like the excitement and freak out session, what the rational side that kicks in, what did you do?
My first conversation with my husband was about our trust. That was my first
Wow,
thing.
that's really rational, Sandra, but I would expect nothing less.
That was our first conversation. Like, we are going to need to update our trust and who's going to take care of our child if we are not here. That was like my first thought. And then my second thought was like, Isaac, I need to increase your life insurance. And for him especially. So that was my second thought. So those things I had in my mind, like for like weeks, because it's not easy to find a person that you want to take care of your finances and your child if you're not here.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a good question. And you said you wanted to increase his life insurance. And if you could kind of back up a little, because I know a lot of people have that conversation. I just had that last week with a friend. They're like, should I have life insurance? Should I bump my life insurance? And then should I really have a trust in place? All these things. So kind of obviously what that conversation looked like and why did you make those decisions?
Well, for me, I think a lot of people don't like to think about debt. And it's not that I like to think about it, but I just like to be prepared. You never know. If something for sure in this life, it's I'm going to die someday. And my husband's going to die one day. I don't know when. So I like to have that in place. So I kind of am very cold when I'm thinking about those things. Like, okay, well, yeah, it sounds really nice, everything. I'm super excited, but then what's going to happen? I don't want to live a burden to my parents and his mom if I'm not here. So, and I want to make sure that child has an education and has the opportunities to either open a business or whatever he wants to do if I'm not here. So I have to be prepared for that. I've always been a believer of life insurance. I've had life insurance since I was 18. So for me, it's not a difficult conversation to have. And why with my husband, like, I need to increase your life insurance because if I want to take some time off, like, let's say something happens to him, he's not here. I'm going to be suffering for that loss. And I don't want to be working at that moment. And then I'm going to be taking care of a child. So I want to make sure that I have all the tools and resources to take care of him, and also like mourn my husband's death if he's not there. So that's why that's very important. And I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but these are the real conversations that are going to make the difference at the end. And I hate GoFundMe accounts. And I don't want to be on the statistics. Mm-hmm.
I know how you feel. I mean, unfortunately, we saw a lot of them during the pandemic, right? And it was, well, we're still in a pandemic, but yeah, it was difficult to see. And I know a lot of insurance people, particularly life insurance folks, that were like, hey, a GoFundMe account is not a life insurance policy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy that people are willing to contribute to help others during that time of need. But had there been a little bit of planning, you wouldn't have had to ask others for all the help. Maybe some additional help would be great, but not all of the help, right?
Yes. And I just want to add, those conversations that are probably not easy for everyone are the conversations that are going to make a difference in your life and in your future. So if you want to do things different, and like I said, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to succeed, I want to do, like, you have to have these hard conversations. Like, you have hard conversations in business. It's the same thing.
And you can't rely on your community or other people to take care of you. Like, you're being very responsible as a parent, as a partner as well, because if it's, vice versa. The funny thing is that you guys said the GoFundMe, especially during the pandemic, we saw so many of those within the Latino community. We see that too often, unfortunately, and many Black and Brown communities. But most recently, I saw GoFundMe for someone who lived very outlandish, like over budget, like luxury everything, and everyone knew this. And this person had a very we thought a successful accounting business, and he died pretty young. And when we saw this GoFundMe, hardly anyone was donating, and it was kind of sad seeing that. But also was a reminder that a lot of people saw him as like, well, why did he live outlandish? Do we have to now pay for his widow or for his children to be okay? Like, why didn't he set that up? And unfortunately, there is that judgment as well that comes with it. But also, you can't rely on people. They're possibly struggling as well. Like right now during the pandemic, you can't just accept people. Oh, aren't you going to give me some money? It's like, well, they might be struggling too. So as you're doing the most responsible thing possible, preparing, even if it is kind of grim to talk about these things, but that's wonderful that you're planning ahead. And I know you mentioned that your father-in-law passed away as well, right? Your husband's dad. So you've had these conversations. My father-in-law passed away as well. So we've had these conversations time and time again of, what do we do? How do we take care of ourselves, our parents, our, whatever assets you might have, who do you leave that to? So it's important that you're doing that. I like how Vera asked you that question of like, what was the first paycheck? Do you remember the first time that you got like that big check that was just like, oh, this is a game changer? And I know it doesn't always come, we always have different responses to it. Do you kind of remember something like that?
I do. I remember the first time that I got a big deposit. It was a commission, like a huge amount for me, right? What I was used to. Your mindset changes though. Like, you see money very, very different. Like, when I got the deposit, I was like, oh my God, it's possible. Like, it's not about getting my $5,000 a month paycheck, right? It's about this. And then even how you make decisions. And my husband says you became a little bit more coda, which is not true. I don't know how to say it in English.
That's you can say coda is like, if you're really translating it, it's like tight or tightwad. However, we prefer to use the word frugal.
Yes, frugal, and then the coda is like technically the elbow, right? So in English, but I love it. Yeah.
He said that. I'm like, well, after we started getting those deposits, you got a little bit frugal, like you mentioned. I'm like, no, not really. It's just because I saw money in a different way, and like, okay, well, I need to take care of this to grow it. And it was very empowering. And also it was like, everything is possible. And
Oh,
now
wow.
you don't see in the hundreds, you see everything in the thousands. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it changes
that
perspective.
is incredible. And I bet that also now that you're going to have a child, that also changes your view on money, right? Because then you realize like maybe $500,000 is not enough to make sure my child has an education. And, Sandra, you and I separately have talked about like what it means to be in the at least the bottom of the top percent
Mm.
in terms of net worth. And what we discovered is that as Latinas, or Latino people, brown, black people, some of us can't imagine having $1 million in the bank. We're just like, what? That's so unattainable. But actually, it's so achievable. And when you actually like look at it and say, I can do that. It's as if suddenly, I kid you not, the money starts rolling in. You just have to not be afraid of it.
It is true. It is true. I remember when said she sent me a table, right, of the top percentage, and I was like, only 3 million? In my head, right, like only 3 million? Really? I thought it was gonna be more because your mindset and perspective changes completely, right?
It does. And, in terms of budgeting for baby, are there just daily things that you do now that you find very helpful, or any like quick tips you can give soon to be moms, or even people that have kids now that really need to be on a budget? What do you recommend, or what has worked for you?
Well, first, I think you do have to stick to a budget from day one, because you're not playing games anymore. Your cost of insurance is going to go up. I mean, I had to increase my insurance for my deductible, and then you have to get ready for your medical bills and things
And you're
like
talking
that.
about
That
your
you
health insurance, just to
Yes.
clarify? Yep.
Yeah, my health insurance. So, and then you have to consider like I'm gonna have to add my daughter or son as soon as they're born to the health insurance is gonna go up too. So you can't play games anymore. You're not, oh, I'm gonna just splurge $100 here this weekend. No, you really have to stick to a budget. And then you do have to, as Latinos, we like to throw off parties. So we do have to budget our baby shower. It was funny because I had a baby shower that my mom did it for me, and we were laughing because it was bigger than our wedding because my mom did it, right? Because I'm so like careful with money that my wedding was so small, and I'm like, oh my god, mom, just give me the money and I can put it in a college fund. But it's okay, it's the first grandchild. So
Yeah,
things like
grandma's
that.
like, we're doing this.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm retired, I have my pension, you're not going to tell me what to do with my money. So I'm all great.
And that's
So
beautiful, right?
Yes, not all.
yeah.
Thank God your mom is in that place, because you hear other mothers that are, or grandmothers to be, that go all out, and you're like, hold up, you're not in that position at all. So that you're automatically teaching yourself like, oh, something's wrong here.
Yeah, but no, it is true, but it's I'm very lucky for that. But like I mentioned, things like that, like we like to throw parties for everything now that we have to throw a party for the gender reveal and things like that. You have to really budget. Do you think that's really necessary, or are you going to need that money for your kids' education? Or as soon as your child is born, I thought, oh, we need to get life insurance for my child as well, right? Things like that. So stick to a budget. What helps for me, like obviously I use apps, and then I use the Excel sheet, and I track it like every week, and I go in there. And also, there's so much marketing out there for moms that it's crazy. Like all the things that you can buy for a baby. Do you really need all those things? Not really.
No, there was a great podcast, Smart Money Mamas.
Uh-huh.
And it was that conversation that most moms, I think I forgot what the question she had asked, for something similar like, if you could do it all over again, what would you do? They're like, I wouldn't have to, or they wouldn't have the baby shower. If they would, they'd be like, I don't want the gifts until I actually know what I need. So they're like, I wouldn't have bought all that stuff online technically, or people would have bought it. And that way you can just go through, because she's like, all of a sudden you felt overwhelmed with so much stuff in like one room, that you're like, are you really going to need that cleaner for the pacifier that holds the pacifier within this cute little bucket that looks like the shape of an animal? And it's like, right?
Oh my God, I totally picture it.
It is true. It is true. They have so many things out there, and it's all marketing, right? So I think that's very crucial. We go with what we see on social media, what we see on groups or forums for moms, and oh, you need this, you need that. Do you really need it? And then consider it within your budget as well. Can I afford it, right? Can my baby afford it? or should I put this money into like something else when the baby's born? So all those things to consider, and then start putting money aside for your medical bills. I see that that's a huge one. Even though you have insurance, insurance doesn't cover everything. There's deductibles, there's co-payments, and they add up. And at the end of the day, you're like $5, $6, $7,000 bill besides your monthly premiums of your health insurance. So all those things are very, very important. And I think we don't talk about it enough. And we just go with the fever of like, oh my God, this is cute. Let's buy this, let's buy that. But let's be real, what you're really going to need, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like we need to, well, obviously you're getting ready to have a baby. So once you're ready to start, when you're home and bored, yeah, like that's gonna happen. We'd love to have you again. But before we go, I'd like to ask you the question, then what is your favorite app that you used prior to becoming the mom entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it? And then now, what is your favorite app that's helping you along the way? And it could be anything related to money or how you budget, whatever you like.
You know, I stick to one app just because I like to see how my wealth, it's just increasing. And I do use Mint for everything, because I can connect all my accounts in there and my investments. So I haven't moved to another app. I haven't checked any if there's like mom apps or anything like that, but I use Mint and my Excel sheet. That's it.
We'll put that in the show notes, everyone.
Yeah, and it's free, guys. If you haven't used Mint, I mean, they're not paying us anything. But
they have to
sharing that.
I know, right? Where's our affiliate link?
Sponsor.
Oh, that was awesome. I mean, I'm so grateful. I mean, even though I am not a parent to be, nor do I plan on being one, I already learned a lot, because I'm like, I have nieces. So I do the same and make sure that, the money goes somewhere that it will continue on and leave its own legacy by allowing somebody else to pursue an education or a business, right? Whatever it is that they want. So, and again, the burden on not our folks to have to clean up after, in case we go before they do. So thank you so much for sharing all those tips. And again, everyone, will make sure to include some of that information in the show notes. And just really quick, in wrapping up, Sandra, where could people find you, since you are a financial planner? Where could people reach you or ask you some questions?
Yeah, they can find me on I'm always on Instagram, Sandra Salcido. And then also my email, I can provide you that. So they can also email me as well, and then Facebook as well.
Okay, great. Thank you again, Sandra. We will talk to you soon. Can't wait to have you back.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. And please make sure to subscribe and leave your comments and reviews. To learn more about the podcast, check out the website and Instagram, Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes, and watch interviews on YouTube and IGTV. To become a sponsor or hire us for your next workshop or speaking engagement, please visit financiallysavvyin20minutes.com. All it takes is 20 minutes daily to become financially savvy. Music by Nikki and produced by Robert DeLude.